Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Straight Talk, Wednesday, September 21st. We do not have a guest tonight. And with that in mind, we're going to get straight into conversations and answering questions of everybody who's on the call tonight. As we set this forward, this was meant to be a place of positive exchange, learning, and growth. And we would like to refocus this whole Straight Talk segment on that. And so with that in mind, and to not have any confusion from anybody, any concerns of anybody, we're going to strictly enforce a 2-minute time limit on everyone. And we're going to ask everybody to please join in the spirit of civility and keeping it positive so that we all learn and grow. So I hope that that kind of sets the stage for how we move forward. So please think about your questions or your, hopefully questions more than statements, so that as we move forward, we can do so and we can get to as many people as possible and we can have a positive dialogue. With that said, I have no idea what direction this is going to take tonight. So I've got a hand up. I am not, do I need to change my view? Why is my, yeah, we can get rid of that. Hang on, everybody. I guess I just got to adjust my screen a little bit. And then I did, here we go. So, all right, now I can see people. Welcome to our ASL interpreters tonight again. Thank you. So let's go to Fernando. Fernando, can you unmute and join us?
Can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
We can.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Fernando Roldan. I'm employment program representative for the state of California Employment Development Department here in Glendale. Mr. Director, I'll make it quick because you did say 2 minutes, so I'm going to make this very, very quick for you and your chair. What is the governor doing? I got to ask this because right now we're in a situation, and by the way, yes, I did sign up for the and register for the EDD conference next Thursday for all EDD staff. I'm seeing closures of our own offices in California. And here in LA County, for example, let's see, Crenshaw's closed. Pacoima, I know they closed a long time ago. And now they just closed Canoga Park. So what does that mean? That our load is going to be a little bit more difficult for us. And now with the offices in the San Fernando Valley gone, everything's being, everybody's going to Glendale and all that stuff. So we got even people from Canoga Park are going to Glendale. So, Mr. Chair, seriously, you got to speak with the governor. I mean, I know some of those offices are private, but still, you got to tell them, hey, this is going to be a burden on all of us. I mean, whatever our contract is or whatever deal we made with the governor, it's going to have to be tweaked a little bit because seriously, closing those offices, especially key ones like the Crenshaw office or Canoga Park, or even Pacoima, that's really unacceptable. I know Pacoima is already with DOR, which with DMV, which I'm glad, but still, we cannot have these closures of these offices, really, because this is going to be a really burden. I know we're getting our salary ranges, but how far is that going to go if they keep closing offices like that, even if they are privately owned? I mean, I really want the governor to really push this and say you cannot close these offices because people are going to need it, and also because it's going to be a burden on some of our own people and all. Anyway, enough said. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up. I was not aware that EDD was closing so many offices. I know that they've been shedding the staff that was hired to deal with the COVID increase. I had not heard about closing offices. So I see that we have Bobby on here and a couple of others. Maybe there's somebody else who has more information than I do. We are supposed to be noticed to our contract department whenever there's a change like this. So I would imagine that our contract department has been dealing with this. But understand that we negotiate with the state based on what's in our contract. And we really have no say in where they close an office or not. I would imagine that this is going to increase workloads, and I would also imagine that it's going to create problems for the public. So maybe we can have that dialogue in the future. Hi, Scott, can you unmute and join us? If I can hit the button,
Hi, can you hear me?
we can.
It kept trying to go back and forth, mute, unmute.
Yeah,
hi, Bill.
I was having trouble on my end too.
Okay. Hi, Bill. I was going to ask, this came up last night on Annika's call, and her answer or what she came up with didn't quite make sense. So I wanted to check this on here. She was basically saying, or the question came up, there's board of directors meeting this coming weekend, and the agenda and all of the items that are up for discussion, I guess, at the board meeting, she was saying people need to go to their DLC presidents to get the information and find out what's in there. Why is that not, if it isn't, on our website?
Okay, so Scott, I appreciate that. It will be eventually. The first piece of this is that we created a firewall for members and stewards to protect our information. So that was one piece of the work that had to be done. The website needs some further revision so that we can adapt it and post to it more effectively and efficiently in ways that the members can actually have it be more usable for them. We're in the process of doing that. That's been a little slow. And then at some point in the relatively near future, I'm hoping by the end of the year, hopefully before the December board meeting, we will actually be able to put everything up on the website. It would probably be right around the same time that it was sent out to the board, which is usually around 15 days before a board meeting. But I think that's an absolute reasonable request. It is something that we've headed towards. We just haven't gotten there yet. So let's see, I have Barbara. Barbara, can you unmute?
Good evening. Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Barbara Alves, DBER Unit 1, DLC 762. I just wanted to welcome you back and throw out a couple of things. I missed part of yesterday's meeting, but she did put a lot of information about what has been put forth for the BOD. And as an officer of more than 15 years, we spent a lot of time with our president talking about the things that were going to be put forward. And that's really important. However, we do live in a different time now. So having those available electronically will be awesome. I've even made suggestions to my president about what they should put forward. And a couple of things come to mind this evening that I'd like to put in your ear as a bug. And the first one is, as we prepare to go to the table, what are we going to be doing to protect our stewards and officers as the management teams become more aggressive? The management teams have things that they can use against us as leverage, telework being the first one, and other things that they use while we go into bargaining to subdue us, to control us, and to take our power away. So I'd like to know what we're going to do as a union together to ensure that we take care of each other as stewards and officers so we can stay strong, continue to get members, and move forward into contract 2023 with confidence. That's all I have, Bill.
Oh, okay, thanks. It's funny that you bring this up because I was working with my own DLC today as the Highway Patrol was shutting us down from firing for an upcoming worksite meeting. So we had to go round and round on this a little bit. I certainly think we could work at strengthening the contract language. But remember, when we go to the bargaining table, the state has to agree to that as well. So I would make the general observation that the bargaining team in the past has always tried to strengthen the protections for stewards and the work we do in the work site. And we do push back through our legal department at every opportunity that requires that kind of pushback. And access is one of the big ones. But I do know that we need to have stronger protection for our stewards. And I will hope that you will drive that up through the bargaining group that you're a part of as well. Good evening, Casey. Can you unmute?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. Thank you for taking my call. And, I recently rejoined the union back again. I kind of had some issues, but I'm back. So I want to kind of address, the floor for a second and not take up too much time. I am a Cal PI custodian that works in CDCR prisons. I also travel the whole entire state. And I don't know if you guys are aware of exactly what us Cal PIA custodians do. In our job description, when we apply for our jobs, it states that we're a regular state custodian. Then when we get hired, we are assigned a different duty statement that Cal PIA gives us. And it completely contradicts basically what we do. And we supervise maximum security inmates, sometimes 10 plus, and we train them. We give them job placement when they get out, and we are doing so much more than what a custodian does. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but I just wanted to kind of bring it up.
I have just a minor bit of awareness. I'm not familiar with everything that you've brought up tonight. I did have some small conversations that somebody shared with me. I think it was at Delano
Okay.
around some of the problems and issues. I did not realize that you traveled the state. And that's got to be tough on the per diems that the state pays as well.
And that's fine with me. I love doing it, and I love training the offenders. But it would be nice if our pay kind of matched what we do. Don't get me wrong, I love doing what I do, but nobody kind of has a clue what we do. They kind of putting us in the umbrella as a custodian, and we are so much more than that.
So,
And the bargaining unit 15 also covers the kitchen workers, and they
yes,
make $1,500 more than us, and they get hazard pay. We don't even get that.
right. So I have a thought. Would you really sit down and go through, maybe share your actual duty statement with us and go through and write down exactly what you do? Because as we move towards bargaining, these are things that we're going to be looking at. And I would say share those with your bargaining unit chair, which I believe is Eric Murray, and share those with the contract department. And if you want, feel free to send it to me as well so I can forward it. It's bhall, Hall, at SEIU1000.org. And, we can certainly bring up with the state, these job duties don't fit with the classification, right? I appreciate that. I know we're past your 2 minutes, so I hope to hear from you. Thanks, Casey. Is it Levias? Hi, Levias, can you unmute? I hope I have that name right. Kathy? Perhaps. Kathy, can you unmute? Well, Kathy has her hand up. Maybe she stepped away or is having technical difficulties. Kathy, we'll come back to you in a minute. Let's go over here. Denise, can you unmute?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Okay, thanks for joining us, Denise. What's up?
Sure. Well, I have a couple of questions. On September 29th, we've got the Skills to Win workshop coming up. And I just got an email that there's an EDD all-member conference call and they're conflicting. One can, maybe the EDD conference call be rescheduled, or who could we talk to about that? And regarding the Skills to Win workshop, can you kind of talk to us a little bit about the curriculum and what's going to be involved in that?
I cannot.
Uh-oh.
This was Irene's. Irene was working on this. So I am not intimately familiar with it. I looked at the basically the flyer in the brochure. And I was asked to support it and give it my blessing so it could happen, which I did. So you are probably actually know much more about it than I do. I will ask a question about the EDD all hands conference call. But perhaps this has to do with like the closures and stuff that were asked about earlier. And it may be something that they don't want to put off. So let me, I'm making a note.
Yeah, I was just concerned about the conflict of them overlapping in time.
Sure.
Obviously I'd want to attend both, but
I
can't, so.
I understand. Let me ask about the EDD call and we'll see where we can go. We have a lot going on and there do tend to be quite a few things that conflict. So I appreciate that, Denise. We'll look into that and we'll see if we can get you an answer pretty quick. Let me come back over here to Kathy. Kathy, can you unmute? Join us? Well, I'm still not getting anything from Kathy. All right, well, we'll leave her up here and come back if we have to. I have JP. JP, can you unmute?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Hi.
Hello, hi, everybody. I just want to say one quick thing to the gentleman who spoke earlier about having some issues with his job duties, and that is to encourage people. I think we should have stewards in every office, and if we get lucky enough, we should have more than one, because we seem to have this problem a lot in a lot of different areas, and I think we could maybe eliminate some of this with having more stewards, because maybe we can address some of these issues as soon as it pops up, as opposed to always playing catch up. We have a lot of work to do in this union, in my personal opinion, because so many things have been left by the wayside for such a long time. And I think that the more stewards, the better, because we can help stop or make others aware of things that are going on at our particular offices. it's really bad out here, and we all need a lot of help. And for those who don't, God bless you, or bless you, or great for you. But most of us are not. And I'm at DMV headquarters, and we have a lot of issues that are just snowballing and not being addressed. And that's it. Thanks, everybody.
I appreciate that. And I agree with it. Yeah, we do have a lot of issues across the board. In some instances, though, stewards are not the answer. The answer is one that people don't really want to hear per se, and is really hard for us to address. And that's that the state's classification system is broken. It's out of date. It hasn't been updated. It's not working for us. But I would argue that it works for them because they're not paying us for the work that we do. And while they say, yes, it's broken, yeah, we're working on fixing it, they've been working on fixing it for a lot of years without a whole lot of progress. So for many people that I talk to and hear from, it really is that they do work that is truly out of class, and they're not being compensated or recognized by the state for what they're actually doing. And the employer is the one who's setting the work and telling them what the work is. So it is absolutely something I hear in every department all across the state for the last 6 weeks that I've been traveling around and been in work sites, working on membership, talking and listening to people. So I absolutely agree. We have a lot of work to do, and we do have to play some catch up. I'm going to come back over here to Kathy again. Kathy, you still have your hand up. Can you unmute and join us? Maybe Kathy, are you there? No, Kathy dropped off. Kathy's unmuted. Can we hear you? I can't hear Kathy. Kathy, I think you've got some technical difficulties. Just keep your hand up. We'll come back to you. Or if you want, try to get back in, and we'll try to get back to you again. Let me come over here to Kelly.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my call. I would like to ask Bill, on behalf of all employees across the state, can you please share with us what is the union doing to address the lack of accountability by the state regarding bullying and harassment that seems to be across the board, whether it's at CDCR, whether it's at State Fund, CDPH. It just seems to be an ongoing issue that continually needs to be addressed.
It is. So we work with our stewards in the work site. We gather information. We push back on the state on a regular basis. I would say that if you've got cause, file a grievance. The grievances help us when we go to contract and allow us to keep moving forward as we go. So this is one that we need grievances on. So if you've got a legitimate case and you can file a grievance, get with a steward, get with the MRC, file a grievance. I think Kelly still got your hand up. I'm going to go over here to Deanna. Hi, Deanna.
I think you unmuted me and not Deanna.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Can you unmute, Deanna? No, we don't hear you. We seem to be having some technical difficulties tonight. Are you unmuted, Deanna? No, you're muted again. So here, can you unmute again? I don't know. We're having some technical difficulties. Hey, Deanna, why don't you work on that your end for a minute and see if there's something different you need to do? I'll come back to you in a moment. Hi, Kevin. All right, I'm going to unmute you this time.
Okay, it seems to work now. I thought it was over on the other one, but hey, I'm going to throw you a softball, but I think it's some stuff people need to hear. I appreciate you coming into my DLC a couple of times, and we really got some membership up. And it seemed fairly straightforward with a lot of people. Can you share with the people on the call, what was the kind of things that people needed to hear to get them over the hump to become members? And maybe you can share some of the, I know that we have onesie twosies we're seeing pictures of, but give us some good news about where we're going with membership when we're reaching out to our centers, because I know you've been everywhere.
My experience has been that I haven't had to have hard conversations with people. They've been really easy conversations, pretty direct asks. When we actually reach people who are not members, many of them just sign up right away. It's been pretty soft, pretty direct, and it's been very positive. We have actually turned the corner to where membership is increasing, and it's a weird thing. The percentage has gone up, but the numbers, this is going to sound strange. The percentage of membership has gone up, but the actual number has gone down because the state's laying off so many people right now. So we are between shedding the temporary employees and the amount of people who are leaving state service. I think some of them of their own choice for better paying jobs. So our represented total number is going down, but our membership percentage is going up. I hope that makes sense.
It did. I was hearing similar. Some people said no one asked me. I'm still getting some fair share questions because they see OPEB on their check and they think they're members, and we signed some people up that way. But the other question I have from a lot of people is simply, why would the state take us seriously now when they weren't before? I mean, can you share any kind of inroads, and are we gaining any traction with the people we're going to try and contract with?
Well, okay, so this is just a general observation for everybody. We're getting more pushback from the state as we're turning the membership around. So that tells me that they're paying attention to the fact that we're out doing this work, and they would prefer that we didn't. The whole key for us being strong enough is for it to be we, so that's the membership. And we've got to get that number up as high as we possibly can. And our goal is to be back to at least 64% by the time we go back to talk with the state. That means we have to have a net 13,000 new members from when we started doing this work to, let's just call it the beginning of March. So are we there yet? No. Are we on the right trajectory? Absolutely. And I think everybody's coming together and doing the work that needs to be done. So I appreciate Kevin as a DLC president asking the questions he asked. I don't know if it's necessarily a softball, but we're doing the right work, and I would like people to understand that they have something that a lot of people wish they had. They have a union. They have a voice. Local 1000 may not be perfect, but with your help and your membership and your involvement, we can make it better. You can make it better. So if we're going to actually win with the state and solve a lot of people's problems, whether it be bullying, getting people reclassified, getting an honest contract that actually puts money in our pocket, we need everybody to step up and do their piece. All of us, nobody's excluded. So thanks for that. I'm going to come back over here. I saw Deanna having work done on our computer. Hopefully she can unmute and join us. I see you're smiling. She's frustrated because she can't seem to get the talk going. What happened? Of course, you can't answer me. I see you there. Why don't you work on it some more? Keep your hand up. It'll keep you in the corner. We'll come back to you. Let's go over here and keep this moving with Ms. Gloria.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Gloria Quiroz. I'm from the San Jose office, CDTFA agency. Let me get my notebook. I wanted to know who's our rep for bargaining unit 1 and bargaining unit 4, because that's the 2 units in our agency.
Okay, so unit 1 is Susan Rodriguez,
Susan.
and she can be reached at unit 1 at SEIU1000.org. And unit 4 is Karen Jeffries, and she can be reached at unit 4 at SEIU1000.org.
Okay, next question. We're all considered, and we should be considered essential workers, not just by classification. We are the backbone to the state of California, especially during this COVID times.
No argument for me.
and weak economy. We had issues prior to COVID, housing, high rents, high cost of living in the Bay Area. I live in San Jose. Many families displaced before COVID, and again, COVID came, it hit worse. People are living in the streets more than before. You got seniors now unable to stay in their homes. They're homeless. We have children going to school hungry because of the high rents, the parents having to work 2 or 3 jobs or laid off because of COVID. So, and then it's hard to keep our workers, state of California, state employees in our jobs, because I heard someone said that they're being moved. So they're being displaced. How are they going to pay their rents if the state of California doesn't hear us, doesn't hear our voice, that we're hurting? Every family is hurting here in the state of California. And why is the state pushing back? I mean, we elected a governor to help us, to stand by our side, not walk behind us, but stand by our side, lead us.
Sure. So you're over your 2 minutes, and I want to be a little respectful. So let me answer a couple of questions. So first, I think what you were getting to is essential worker pay. The bargaining team, your reps here at the local, put forward a proposal to the state that delivers dignity, respect, and financial compensation for the work you did during COVID. Now, why the state is taking the position that they're taking, why Governor Newsom seems to treat McDonald's workers better than he treats his own employees, I have no idea. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me either. It's not right. The state of California and all government entities across the nation are treating their employee base the same way. And it's popping up in different ways. I have a weekly message that goes out. I believe it goes out to the whole membership tomorrow. In that, there's a link to a really excellent article by, of all places, the Washington Post, that does a really, really good job of talking about this all across the state, giving examples, and basically saying that between the politicians and the taxpayers, they should not expect to receive the services that they think they're going to receive, and that they've dug such a big hole that it's going to take like decades to get out of. So are we putting this forward in our bargaining proposals? Yes. Are we putting this forward in our conversations with the powers to be wherever we can? Yes. Is it falling on deaf ears? I certainly hope not. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not in control of the governor or the legislature. And we need to continue doing the work that we do as a labor union, the work that we do as workers, to protect our rights, expand our rights, take care of our families. This work never stops, and it is always under attack. So, not a perfect world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member. And we're doing the right work. We're doing the work that you want us to do. So maybe contract negotiations in 23 will have a different answer for us. Myself, yourself, and everybody else on the call. Let's come back. I'm going to come back over here. Okay, Deanna, we're going to give you another try. Can you unmute? So Deanna, why don't you sign off and sign back on, and we'll try to recognize you, okay? Go ahead and log out and come back on. Maybe that'll solve the problem. Let me go over here to JP. JP, you've made it back to the top again.
Okay, I'll get back to the end because I've spoken
No,
already at least once, and I see that there's some other people
it's
with their
okay.
hand. It's okay?
It's
Okay.
okay.
I'll
Well,
just, so I can get my 2 minutes in quick. I'm sorry, Bill. So I'm gonna
No,
go
it's all
back
right.
to, I'm gonna stay on the Stewart thing, and to the young lady who was having some issues with bullying, because we all are on our job sites. We're all being cracked down, you know, at the job, and our managers and supervisors are bullying us in different forms. And I just want to make the suggestion that once a year we do those sexual harassment, privacy, security things every year. And there's a lot of information in that about bullying that you'll see that your managers or other people are doing. And so perhaps that'll help you to write up your grievance if you are going to try to do that, or just keep track of every time a situation happens. And I'm going to also say, my concern is for all of the membership. I vote. So, and everybody who votes, you can call your representatives if you want, call your governor, do whatever you want, and tell them whatever you want. You're all independent voters. You can call and say whatever you like to them. So you can do that. That's another way of having your voice. Also, I'm not concerned with my employer. I'm concerned with all of you guys, because we're all in the same boat. So until I become, or unless I become a manager, I'm not concerned with their side of the table. I'm concerned with our side of the table, and for us to encourage and push them forward, to address the bullying, to address the working out of class, to address the harassment, to address whatever is going wrong for our membership on the job site, and for us to get perhaps the $6,000 that our bargaining team is looking for the essential workers pay, as opposed to what the state wants to give us, $1,500 for the last 2 years, which is, okay, that's laughable, but that's my opinion.
It's worse than that, because it was only a small segment of the people we represent. It wasn't everybody even. So, and then the bullying issue. So when we go to the state says, yeah, we don't have a problem. One of the ways we prove that we have a problem is by having grievances, by having paper that's been filed over time. So this is where having stewards in the workplace and filing those grievances really helps move the issue at the table when we meet with the state. And with that, let's move on to Kelly. Kelly, can you unmute?
Yes, thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
And I would also like to thank JP for her comments. And I just have to say that, just very briefly, that with regards to the bullying aspect, the state must be, as well as the union, familiar with this for it to be in the contract in the first place that bullying will not occur. Now, the reason for my call is that I have two brief questions. The first one is, in Annika's Tuesday night meetings for the Stewarts, she indicates to us that she's very well aware that the state is not filling the HFEN positions as those positions are being vacated. They're bringing in health facility evaluators, but they are not nurses. They're not capable of doing the same level or quality of work. And I was wondering what is being done by the union to address that. It's not really a Stewart issue. It's has to do with management from the
It's a,
state.
it's a contract, it's a contracting out our jobs issue. And,
Wow.
um,
Okay, and my second question is, most recently in the Sacramento Bee, actually in this case, there was some discussion about Newsom wanting to close 5 prisons by the end, I believe, of 24. In any event, I was wondering what stance the union is taking regarding that. Thank you, Bill.
sure, you're welcome. So, we're looking at several different avenues. Some of them are legislative, and some of them have to do with engaging the local communities. So we have to do this differently. We have to look at this differently, and we have to position ourselves with this in a different way. Now, in a society where we incarcerate way too many people for way too long a period of time, changing the correction system isn't necessarily a bad thing. But how that impacts the people we represent, how that impacts the communities where these facilities have been located, that's where we have to get involved and do our work. So what exactly that looks like, there's a lot of room for discussion. We've been trying to get some committees up and running, engage more people, reach out to the legislature where we can and engage them in some conversations where we can figure this out. One of the successful models that I read about was New York State, where they did a closure commission. And so then closures didn't become political. They were done from a point of common sense. They took into consideration the welfare of the workforce and the welfare of the communities that were being impacted. Something that I think California has not done well so far. So this is a really, really challenging issue for the union to really sink its teeth into and really make a value, deliver a value to the members that we represent. There are no easy solutions at the moment, but hopefully we can work to find better political solutions than have been presented in the past. And with that, I'm going to try to come over here and see if Deanna, who's been extremely patient and very frustrated, can unmute and come join us because she's back. Oh no, we still can't hear you. Do you have a phone? Can you call us instead? Maybe that would be maybe that would work better for you. There's a phone number you can call in on and get in through the phone. Hey, you know what? Stay on here for a moment. Brian, one of our staff people, is going to try to resend you the information. Oh, she's got help working on her computer again. I know she can hear me. let you mess for a minute. Let me come back over here. I'm going to move on to Earl. Good evening, Earl. Can you unmute?
Yeah,
Welcome.
sometimes I get a problem in Zoom where I have to go into my system permissions for the microphone or whatever. Anyway, thank you for having this meeting and working late hours to do this informative event for the members of this union. We are all the union together. The union is not a separate entity from us. We are the union.
I would agree with you.
And I just wanted to say that because I sometimes we think of the union as over there to help us and we're not there. But anyway, it was mentioned earlier that the state is laying a lot of people off. And are those who want to able to get another position with the state through the layoff mitigation process?
We have worked with that with EDD with some success. There are people who were 2-year limited term contracts who have been brought on full time. Our perspective as a union is not enough because they're still hiring people from the street instead of taking people who they've already got 2 years work experience with, they've already been trained. I don't really get the aspect of laying those people off and bringing in people off the street. We've had some success. We are working to have more success.
So they aren't laying off permanent as much as a limited term?
Yeah, no, it's all the limited term. The state in a lot of departments did 2-year limited term contracts during COVID. And they've been shedding those people pretty heavily beginning around February of this year. And it kind of accelerated towards July and August, and it's even carried into September right now.
I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for your answer, sir.
You're welcome. All right, Deanna, did you get your problem fixed? No. So Deanna, maybe somebody can help you. Oh, she's got a pay. She's desperate. She's up the paper now. I can't read the paper. So just to help you real quick, Deanna, sometimes if you go down to the microphone button on the bottom of the screen in Zoom and you click on the arrow, it gives you some different options. You may have to enable one of those options. I'll come back again. Let's go back over here to Naomi. Hi, Naomi, can you unmute? No, I lost Naomi. I'll come back to Diana in a moment. I'll come back over here to Fernando. Hi, Fernando. Welcome back again.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Mr. Chair. But you know what? Going back to what one of the reps said, I have to agree with this. I think every office, and I mean every department and all, should have one job steward in their office, only because with the fact that, we do need job stewards to explain to us what's going on, at least with our contracts and all. I mean, having few job stewards is not enough. We do need to have at least one representation in each of our offices. So I hear what you're saying, but I really think we need to tweak it a little bit more. And please, I am asking our union and as you as a representative, please get more representation in each of our offices, because like I said, with everything I'm hearing, the bullying, the office closures, so many legislative issues, I really believe that every office should have at least one representation to at least tell our people what's going on. I mean, I'm already trying to file myself for a job steward position, so I'm just still trying to get the signatures in. And and then I'm ready to go.
Well, super. Hey, thank you for stepping up and being a steward. So remember, stewards is a voluntary position. We are looking to recruit people to do that work on a regular basis. And to go back, this has been discussed before, but we've been through kind of the perfect storm. We had Janus, we didn't recover from that. We had COVID. We've been out of the work sites for 2.5 years. We're getting back into the work sites now. And I hear people's frustration around us not having been in the work sites for so long. So I absolutely agree with you, and we're having the conversations with anybody that we find that we think might be a good job steward. We're encouraging people to step up and join us and help us do that. And it's ongoing work, Fernando. So you're absolutely right, and thank you for taking that step. I'm going to skip over here to Veronica for a minute because Veronica hasn't spoken yet. Hi, Veronica. Can you unmute?
Hi, Bill. How are you? It's Veronica Guzman, DLC 785 steward.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have a question for you. So I have our DLC president, Jonah, and our union rep, Freddie, involved in this situation that we have at our work site. And mind you, Freddie and Jonah are absolutely amazing and their support is great. But I wanted to bring this to your attention to see if anybody else is having this situation. We have an expectation memo and a telework policy that was issued. We're all teleworking permanently. If we are asked to come into the office for a meeting, whether it be a 10-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, we're required to stay a full day, pay for parking, pay for gas, and do all that. Another thing is we're having a very huge problem trying to hold our worksite meeting to try to bring people in, to try to, hear our members or even bring in non-members, because when I'm putting out the notice, hey, can you guys come to this worksite meeting? It's from 12 to 1. Everybody's saying, I don't want to go in a full day of work for a worksite meeting. So something has to be done about these policies. When I did ask in our all staff meeting, was this policy in this memo ran by the union? They had said, we don't need to run it by the union.
Interesting.
So there are many members concerned, many non-members as well, that they think that this policy is extreme.
I would say it is. So you've already got the right people working on it in the right channels. And this needs to at some point come to our contract department where we can do enforcement. So that's that piece. This is the first time I've heard of a departmental policy being this extreme. So I think the membership question maybe could be dealt with differently. So if you've got good communications with your members and non-members in your office, which it sounds like you do, perhaps you could organize a afternoon or evening coffee or ice cream or something at some place that's convenient to where people live instead of the work site. So that might be a way to bring people together in a different way that's more convenient to them. Or maybe even a lunchtime, a smaller group lunchtime meeting at a place near where they where everybody lives. So we've talked about this, and this is being tried and tested in a couple of different places. This is not my idea. So maybe you could give that a whirl, and that might help on bringing people together. Deanna, I can't see you anymore. Can you unmute?
Can you see me?
I
Hello?
can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, I think I'm on the phone. So I had to call
Well,
in.
Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for the person that was giving me the advice about the microphone, but it still didn't want to work for me. But anyways, I'm a union, I'm in the union. I've been in the union ever since I started with EDD. I have a couple of questions to ask you. The first one is I'm an adjudicator, and I'm wondering, when are you guys going to go ahead and classify us adjudicators compared to claim filers? Because as you know, adjudicators do a lot of work and we're very overworked and underpaid. That's one. Two, our union rep sent us an email and I responded back, but the response back that didn't get, which is probably why a lot of people don't want to sign up for the union, is they're telling us like, well, what has the union done? And I understand we all ask that same question. But for a shop steward to come out and say, well, you have two options, non-member, non-active, or member. To me, that's saying, okay, well, if you don't like what I'm telling you, you know, you don't have to be a member. I was just about to send a link and say, hey, send me a link so I can be a non-member then, if that's how you're going to go about it. Because all these new people that are coming to hire, they're not going to want to be in the union if you're going to have your shop steward tell you something like that. So how do you go about that?
Well, I hope that our shop stewards aren't delivering the experience that you're receiving. And we have all different people. So one solution would be for someone like yourself to step up and be a shop steward so that there's a better voice in the workplace. That's a possible solution. And then any reclassification of anybody sits in the state's purview. Now, we can deliver information, we can make requests at the table, but the state is very resistant and reluctant to actually engage Local 1000 on reclassification issues. So again, with a very antiquated system with classifications that haven't been looked at, updated for, I mean, in some classifications, I mean, before there were computers, then it only makes sense that we're doing work that is not in our classification spec anymore because the work has changed so dramatically. I think that's true of a lot of the people we represent, and it is absolutely an issue that the contract department and the bargaining teams are aware of, and we do keep working with the state on it. Let's see, I'm going to try to touch a couple of people that haven't spoken yet. I'm going to come over here to Mario. Good evening, Mario. Can you unmute? Hi, Mario. I don't know. We can't hear Mario tonight. Maybe there's something wrong on our end. Oh, there he is. We got video on you, but we can't hear you. Mario, you're still muted. Can you unmute? I don't know, because I know Mario knows how to use his computer, so maybe there's something wrong on our end tonight with the Zoom link. I don't know, Mario. Why don't you try coming back in and we'll see if we can get to you again. Log out and come back in. Or call on the phone. Let's go over here to Naomi. Hi, Naomi. Can you unmute? I don't know. I'm starting to think it's on our end somehow. I don't hear Naomi either. Let me come over here to Jamu. Hi, Jamu, can you unmute?
Yeah, Bill. Hey, thanks. And I
Oh,
want
there
to
you
give
are. We
cool.
can hear you.
Yeah, shouts out to everyone. Hey, Bill, I want to kind of go back and revisit something that was said earlier, probably about
Sure.
maybe 2 or 3 minutes ago, and I'm not quite sure if this was a misstatement on your part or if you, like me, sometimes have senior moments. Okay, but I want to kind of address this issue because one, right during Janus, a lot of unions suffered. Unionism, first of all, unions across this country prior to the last 3 or 4 years, even now, has been under a great deal of stress and attacks by substantial property owners through their ability to control the communication mechanism as well. So yeah, unions all across the country, working people's or collective bargaining orders have been under attack. That's great. That's not great, but that is true. And there has been a plethora of things that has been attacking working people in general. But one thing that I kind of want to kind of clarify is that when Janus, we knew Janus was coming. We instituted a political education program called I Choose. So we began to educate our members, to prepare our members how important unions are to their very existence as working people. So when Janus hit, there was a drop off, a slight drop off when Janus hit. Before, by 2021, we had already achieved almost pre-Janus levels. So when you said we haven't recovered, I guess it's an operational in terms of how we define recover. But I just want to kind of clarify, because if that's what you mean, we haven't recovered, and you are pointing to the impact that Janus had on membership. I kind of wanted to clarify, well, no, our numbers came back to pre-Janus level, and that was due to the educational piece that we had implemented prior to. And I kind of want to clarify that. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct on the membership side and the numbers side. Where we haven't recovered is on the financial side.
Well, yeah, and that's due to the machinations of the current leadership. And that's if that's what we're saying, yeah. If that's what you're referring to, yes.
We lost our fair share fees, so we have to go sign up. We have to go sign those people up, right? We have to make our argument with them. So, but you're absolutely right. As far as the basic membership, we've held pretty steady. All right, let's see. I'm going to come over here and try to hit Mario because we lost him. Mario, can we get you back here?
Can you hear me?
Well, I can. Welcome.
Yeah. Hello. I'd like to go back to the EDD, Employment Development. They do some very hard and difficult and important work for us.
They do.
Now, here's the thing, though, Bill. The facts are is that back in 2020, between March and June, EDD hired 10,000 limited full-time EPRs. Okay. And my question to the union is, how come we didn't find unfair labor practice against the state? Because as a limited term full-time, an employee doesn't receive the full benefits accorded a state employee. And I think that was a very sneaky way for EDD really to take advantage of members, especially new employees who didn't understand all the, I say, state of California rule, all the rights. So where was the union at that time? How come we didn't follow? And don't give me this excuses, because you were on the board. You were on the board of directors, respectively.
Sure, I was on the board of directors, but I was not hands-on running the day-to-day operations, and I was not involved in the contract department. I would say a couple of different things, Mario. So during that time, there were a lot of people who were out of work and wanted any job they could get. So they were probably happy to have the limited term. And then it was the governor's push, and I would say EDD's push, to bring on people on a limited term because they saw a surge in the workload due to the COVID and the pandemic situation. Now, where we have had issue and where we have pushed back recently has been to bring those people on and hire them into the vacancies and not hire inexperienced people off the street. We've had limited success with that. But it is work that we continue to do. So we are heavily engaged in converting the limited term people to full-time permanent. And I mean, to me, it makes sense. It's a sensible thing to do. Let's see. I have Naomi, can you unmute and join us? I'm not sure if you've spoken yet tonight. I still can't hear Naomi. Naomi, we still can't hear you. We've tried. Maybe you could either call in on the phone or log back in and we can get you up. I have a user on here who's labeled iPhone.
That's me, Tommy Cornelius.
Oh, hi, Tommy. Welcome. What can we do for you tonight?
I have a couple of questions. I apologize for getting on late.
No, that's fine.
Some of the questions, as far as the, are we allowed to talk about the agenda? Are we able to talk about that?
We talked about putting the agenda up on the website, and we're working towards that.
Okay, and also, I'm gonna start with this one. I received a email regarding COLA. And are we discussing COLA, or are they gonna be discussing COLA anytime soon, or is that part of the bargaining?
That's everything that we're going to do around money with the state of California at this point is going to be done in the 2023 contract. The state's not going to talk to us about anything before that.
Okay, and also on the agenda, that agenda is pretty extensive.
Yes, it is.
I don't recall anything on that agenda benefiting the members. The only thing is kind of benefiting the board of directors or what's going on as far as policy. Am I correct or am I wrong?
I think cleaning up the way we do business, setting our meetings for next year, looking at a committee to look at the governance of the local and reporting back and making recommendations for the board to look at governance in September of 2023 as we move to the spring of 2024 union elections is absolutely for the members.
Well, I'm talking about immediate, not 2024, because I don't see anything, and again, I may be wrong, that's going to benefit. Are we talking or gearing to get ready for the new contract? I see a lot of power struggle what's going on within the board of directors. And as far as its policy, it's almost like there's some intent there that somebody's has some different intentions as far as who's going to be the next president or who's going to be, are they going to get rid of the chair? I don't like being in this place where we're at right now. And I know we're losing members because of the bickering. I'm getting emails and having conversations from actual management about what's going on with the union, because it doesn't look good what's going on with the union. And as far as, again, I don't see any talk or anything gearing toward benefiting the members. The only thing I see is hidden agendas. And I'm not making these accusations up. I'm just looking at what's going on about getting rid of the chairperson, and also somebody's going to be taking over the president, the board of directors, getting putting a president in place. However, what I do have a problem is the members didn't get a chance to vote on a chairperson. They didn't get a chance to vote on what's the policies are being changed. So is that going to come into play versus the board of directors is going to make the decisions for the members? And some of these, and I'm not going to put myself and say I'm a perfect president, but there's some of the presidents not even put the information out to the members that what's available, what's going on with the union.
Well, we've gone through a tremendous amount of turmoil, and we're not done with that turmoil yet. We still have the HR 1 process going with Richard Brown. And yes, we're in turmoil. And under the California Corporate Code, the board cannot cede its authority to the members, and the members cannot actually take the power from the board. So this political world actually does rest with the board of directors. Hopefully, I was hoping that we would put this behind us for a while. Hopefully we can get to a point where we do put this behind us. We have been doing, I have been, for better or for worse, with some missteps, moving the organization forward, moving to build membership so that we can get a strong contract. These are the things that I think improve people's lives. I have pushed forward in a timely fashion the decisions of the COPE committee so that we can be stronger in the political world to get a better contract. It all means money in the pockets of people we represent. So all the work that I've been focused on a day-to-day basis has really revolved around how to build membership and how to get a better contract. And at the end of the day, I think that's what our membership truly cares about. And I would also agree with you that it would be very beneficial if the fighting, arguing, and bickering would come to an end. And we would work in a harmonious manner towards figuring out the structure of the local going forward. That's my hope as well. Oh, let's see. I don't think I lost somebody here who I was trying to get back to. Let's go over here to Sharon. Sharon, can you unmute?
Hi, Bill. Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Fabulous. Thank you. Someone spoke a bit ago about how management has been bullying and changing the parameters of what's expected for teleworkers and things of that nature. I have, I think I've spoken to this before, but I have, for the most part, at Covered California in Fresno, most of the management is in love with the whole idea of teleworking. And I know our workers are, but the teleworking also allows management a measure of anonymity when they launch their harassment campaigns against workers. So they can call the worker, or they can call the, they can call a worker and chew a worker out or belittle a worker because there's nobody to tell them, there's nobody to hear what they're saying to the workers. So my PT2s are at work, working from home, and they get a call from a supervisor, and the supervisor launches, oh, you're not doing this, or you're on the phone too long, or you need to do this better, or you need to work more cases. We have no such standards by which management should be measuring our productivity. And a lot of my PT2s, program technician 2s, who are the frontline workers when it comes to receiving calls, they don't know how to fight that. They think that their supervisor is untouchable in that. So I would like to visit the idea, and I've been writing down some thoughts that I want to share with my bargaining chair, and I intend to do that, on strengthening the contract language about supervisors knowing how to do the work of their workers. And the bullying clause, that there should be some kind of a penalty attached to that for a supervisor that is repeatedly egregious in their conversation with members.
Okay, well, you've talked about this before, Sharon. I remember that we've had a conversation in the past around this. I appreciate it. It's absolutely an issue, and please do bring it forward with your chair with any ideas that you have. I am absolutely certain they'll be entertained and considered as we move forward towards the contract. Let's see. I've got, let me go over here to JP. JP's been very patient. Welcome back, JP.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I'm going to be a broken record tonight, but I'm back to the stewardship. Please, people, continue to, volunteer, be a steward. As you listen to these phone calls, you can tell we need more. And the reason, one of the reasons to be a steward is because you learn some of what your rights are and some of what the management cannot do. And as you learn that, you can share that with others. And the more people who become a steward and learn what their rights are, we can spread that knowledge out, and knowledge is always power. To Miss Sharon, stop helping your management. If they don't know that job, leave them alone. Don't be teaching them, showing them. That's their problem. That's to your advantage. Second, you need to, when they email, call, memorialize that phone call, even if you just do it for yourself. But I would say CC your manager or CC a union or a union steward, what they have said to you, so that you have that on paper and you create a paper trail, just like they're creating a paper trail on you. Second, I don't know why the limited term, somebody talked about that, and we're letting go of employees. We need to stop that limited term, and we need to be able to track them when the limited term people are let go or if they become permanent, so we know where people are. I'm sorry, I'm talking fast. I'm not sure why so many people are being laid off with the state, but I'm sure the union knows about that, and we should be keeping track of that. But steward, help your other co-workers learn what some of their rights are. And for people who, if you have a union book, read it occasionally. If you're having an issue, read your issue or your neighbor's issue, and it just helps you to become familiar with the contract and what it says and what it doesn't say, and the language that isn't there now, but perhaps needs to be strengthened in the future. And in my opinion, our contract language needs to be much more proactive for us. And one more thing, Bill, one of the last things you said earlier made me nervous, and I'm going to get this a little wrong, but you said something about how we're changing, I'm going to say it all wrong, the bylaws or the power and where it's going to lie. It's no longer going to be a union for the members by the members. It sounds like it's going to be more of a dictatorship, that the board is going to dictate to us what we can or cannot do, or what kind of power we do or do not have. And we already kind of have that going on our jobs. And I hope I misunderstood you, and that's not the place where we're going in the future.
No, that's not exactly what I said. So just to be clear, under the corporate code, under the law, under the structure, the board has certain duties and responsibilities. The board cannot vacate those responsibilities and put them on the membership. So for instance, the board cannot say that, we're not going to decide this issue. We're just going to push it down to the membership. The board can't do that legally. At the same time, the membership can't say to the board, you're going to give up those duties and we're going to take those over. Where you have your rights that will not change is in the election process, is in electing your local representatives, in having your connection and your voice with them. Your local president that then comes to the board, that's not going to change. So I hope that's a little clearer. It's a misunderstood area. So like when when people talk about, the board created this position, the chair, the members didn't vote on it. Well, the board cannot allow, in a sense, they cannot give that up for the members to vote on. That stays with the board of directors as the duties and responsibilities of the board. That does not mean that we should not take a look at governance of the organization. That does not mean that we shouldn't have very thoughtful conversations, take everything into account, and figure out how to move the organization forward in a better way. A better way does not mean less rights for the members, from my perspective. So, hopefully the board can take that work up in September of 23 as we move towards an election. I'm going to move over here and try to get to Naomi because she's been very patient. Naomi, can you unmute and join us? Well, it looks like you're unmuted. There's your picture. Are you going to call in or did you call in? All right, but I don't know where you are. Let me try this. Is this you?
Hello?
There you are. We found you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted a little quick information about, you had touched on it earlier about the limited terms being shedded. And I was a limited term. I actually was coming from my permanent position into a limited term that I did for about 24 months. Then I had to go back to my previous position. But I was just kind of curious about how long did the management know that I was going to be sent back? Because I felt really bad about the whole situation.
Sure. So there's two different things. Your situation is a little different. You took a limited term assignment, and those assignments don't always turn into a full-time position at the end for anybody. And there's different limited terms. I've seen them for 6 months, a year. 2 years is a pretty long limited term. But it does give you the opportunity to work and gain experience in that classification. And then hopefully, if that's something that you want to do, you could test, get on a list, and interview for a full-time permanent position. The people that we were talking about were people who were hired on a two-year limited term contract. And their employment for this, they were not full-time permanent state employees. They were limited term employees right from the go. They were hired in certain areas to deal with the excess workload that came out of the pandemic. EDD was probably the largest department that did this practice. So that's two different groups of people. So I hope that answers your question, and I, depending on where you are, reach out through the MRC and see about some help on upward mobility, especially if you're Unit 4. We have apprenticeship programs and things that can help you move forward and promote. And I think everybody here has been up at least once, so I'm going to come back over here to Ms. Gloria.
Hello, good evening again. I have
Welcome again.
Thank you. What is the union doing about the geographic pay? I know that was on our last contract. 4 counties we're awarded $250 a month, our last contract. So is our union going to advocate, campaign for the geographic pay? I know Paul Langley of San Francisco Coastal Office, he's basically the godfather of this topic. But yes, I was just wondering about that topic. The geographic.
I worked with Paul on the GeoPay. I'm out of Oakland to work on driving that forward. It's interesting how times change in a very short period of time sometimes. So the state agreed to GeoPay in a way that really didn't cost them anything. And they did it to solve their own problems. And it was really turned out to be kind of divisive. However, with the way California has changed, if you're in high cost of living areas, or maybe I should say high housing cost areas.
Yeah, in the Bay Area.
Right. And I'm in Solano County, which is a high cost area as well. You have one set of problems, but the people who live in the rural areas have a different set of problems. So right now, their healthcare cost is almost as high as the difference between what they pay in rent and what you pay in rent. So as it turns out, 3 years later, GeoPay isn't actually the best solution for us. The best solution for us now is actually the largest general salary increase we can get across the board for everybody, so that you can afford to live where you work in a high cost area, and people who live and work in predominantly the prison system, but also DMV and some EDD offices and Fish and Game, Unit 11 people who live and work in rural areas get a big enough salary increase that they can pay for their healthcare increases, because their healthcare increases coming up in January are absolutely stunningly, they're over the top. And the same goes for people that we represent who are working at a state. Their healthcare has gone up tremendously with the changes that CalPERS and the state made. So while GeoPay looked like it was a good answer 3 years ago, with the way things have changed, I don't know that it would serve everybody that we represent the best at this time. However, with that said, that's not my ultimate decision. There'll be bargaining surveys for everybody to fill out. So come share your bargaining surveys, complete them, tell the teams what you want, tell them what's important to you. And from my experience, what I've seen is that they read and catalog every single survey completed. Every single one. They don't leave anything unread, untouched, unfiled and put in some kind of a category. So as we move forward, as we do more work towards going to the contract, and we're doing more bargaining surveys, town halls, et cetera, come out, join us, fill out the survey, send them back. If there's a Zoom on a topic, join in. If there's a survey that comes out on SurveyMonkey, fill it out and tell us what you think, because every opinion actually gets counted and registered. So the bargaining team will formulate what they go to the table with out of the feedback that they get from the membership directly. With that, I'm going to try to end this evening. Thank you very much for everybody who came in. I don't see anybody that we didn't get to at least once. I apologize for any of the technical difficulties. I want to thank staff who supported this tonight and helps make this happen and bring this to you. They work long and hard. Don't know why we had the trouble with the Zoom tonight that we had. It seemed to be amongst a variety of people. So hopefully next week we won't have those issues. And one last thank is to our ASL interpreters who come with us and reach out and help communicate our message to our other communities. And it's important that we reach everybody. So I want to thank them as well. And with that, have a great evening, and we will continue to do the work for you.